About 3.5 years ago, we started talking about something that we felt God had put on our heart. We were challenged, if you will, by a mandate. We carried this thing with us about being a church for our city. In other words, being a resource to the city and being a proponent for the city and being part of the solution and not just somebody who reported the news about all of the problems. We took this to heart. We began to go to the scriptures, and God took us to the book of Jeremiah in verse 29 or chapter 29 and verse 8. And it just simply says this: seek the peace and prosperity of the city. We began to take that mandate very seriously and began to act on that. We started to ask questions about what does that mean for us and where will that lead us? It's about that time that there were some really important relationships in my life that began to kind of pull me into this conversation of church planting and how the gospel would really find new legs in the United States and in cities within the United States by churches multiplying their resources, their people, and growing through the multiplication of churches. And so that was really heavy on our heart. We'd felt like God was calling us to plant 3 churches. And as the story goes, we had looked at a few different options of where we could go within our city to get this thing started. And we felt real clearly that God had organized things and people and passions in such a way that we were called to go west, to the west side of South Bend. Well, as many of you know, that led us to the purchase of a building. In fact, we've just closed on that this week, and the building is ours. And we're pleased to say that come Easter, we'll be planting a brand new church. Now, it made sense to us because we've always been a church that really wanted to serve our city. So there's a number of initiatives that we've done down through the years, from our large toy giveaway at Christmas time to school supplies for children to even our monthly second Saturdays, food drops, men's conferences that were city focused and things of that nature. Were things that we kind of did the math on, and as we pulled them together, it just made more and more sense for us to press into this idea of being a church for the city. So we were really inspired to plant. It seemed to be in our DNA. So one of the big shifts for us then is this, that we've been a single campus church for all of our existence for the most part. Now this church has, when it was called Calvary Temple, actually did plant a church back in the 90s, okay? But it was a way different model than what we're doing at this point in time. So we're about to see something really shift. And the big idea that we really want to share, and it's fairly simple, and it's important to note that, first of all, we're changing the corporate name of the church. We've been Southgate Church, and this will remain the Southgate campus. So you don't have to relearn that necessarily at this point in time. But we are coming under the umbrella of the name Hope City Church. Because Southgate's a directional name, we felt like we needed something that blanketed and described our heart better than a directional name like Southgate. Hope City felt to us like it made sense that we want to bring hope to our city. We've been talking about being a church for our city for a good while now, so it seemed to make sense, and our hearts resonated with that. And so the West Side campus will immediately be referred to as Hope City West. So they'll carry that name, probably stronger than us from the get-go, but we want our corporate understanding to be that all of us together make up make up Hope City Church. See, it's going to take a while. This will be the Southgate campus, and that'll be the Hope City West campus. So just so you know that that's the language that we're going to be using in the coming days. It's a fairly simple concept, but it's going to take us a little bit of time to get used to.